Over the last few years, I'm sure there's plenty of things that one could argue didn't go right, but objectively, there have been a bunch of things that were added that were pretty cool additions to the experience across Modern Warfare, Cold War, and Vanguard. Now, usually with sequels or titles added that are meant to expand upon prior experiences, we'd see all of those things, or a good number of them, at the core of the next gameplay experience and games in the future. But for some reason, Modern Warfare 2 cut back on a lot of those and chose to take things a different way, with some of the prior additions being re-added with Modern Warfare 2's Season 2 update upcoming for multiplayer and Warzone 2.0. Today I want to take a look at 10 improvements that we're still missing that hopefully we can see in the near future. As we go along, drop your thoughts below. I'm sure there's one or two or more even missing that we could think about here that we just didn't get around to in this video, so feel free to drop your thoughts on what you'd like to see return. As well, make sure to check out my friends over at GamerAdvantage for the best blue light glasses on the market, while their 24% off deal is still going on, but more on them in a bit. For now, let's take a look at 10 improvements and so far missed opportunities, I think, with Modern Warfare 2 and a hope for their return. So let's start with Modern Warfare 2's base game. Right up front, there is an obvious one, but we'll save that for a bit later in the discussion because, well, I've beaten that point to death. Firstly, one thing is mastery challenges with progression. We kind of have a segmented fraction of that. Prestige challenges are available here within Modern Warfare 2 to offer up calling cards with around, like 6 challenges per set or something similar, where completing those grant an additional categorical mastery calling card reward. But in the sense of the challenges set at their base, we don't have anything like that in Modern Warfare 2. Nothing that would challenge you to complete everything and then rewards you with something further. To a lot of people, that's not much, but it's one of those grinds that a lot of people also do look forward to, a challenge to go on and made for easier replayability since you had a clear goal that you wanted to complete. It's honestly why I think that I like DMZ so much. There's something more to complete at every turn, even if it's mundane, whereas in the traditional MP sense of things, there's no real end goal beyond like the mastery camo of Orion and maybe like weapon leveling, which, speaking of, I'd like to see some sort of grand mastery reward. There is nothing right now for completing all mastery challenges for every single weapon. There was a data mined grand mastery weapon charm that seems to be coming at some point, but as of right now, those that embark on that absolutely absurd journey of getting a minimum of 1,000 kills with every single of the 50 plus needed weapons, there's nothing at the end of that road. Previously, it was assumed that we'd see some sort of camo meshing feature as it was ambiguously teased in one of the pre-launch blog posts, but after seeing nothing come of that, it may very well have been just miswording of a feature or mastery reward that was yet to be revealed since it was, well, pre-launch. In Modern Warfare 2019, you did have a calling card that was ultra rare for completing the mastery of every single weapon. Even if it's just something like that, it'd be nice to see something. Personally, also, I'd like to see an additional camo introduced, like Obsidian, for anyone still wanting to grind out camo challenges. Obsidian camo was introduced post-launch. There is potential here and hope for that, but we'll have to wait and see how that all works out. The next feature, though, that I would love to see return is missions, similar to Modern Warfare 2019 mission sets. Yes, we do have missions in DMZ right now, but you don't necessarily get the same out of those as you did with Modern Warfare 2019 missions. There's not as many long-term rewards, stuff that carries over to your account, because the bulk of those DMZ mission completions are just contraband weapons, keys, or like double XP tokens. 2 of those things are being wiped in the Season 2 update upcoming. So instead, I'd love to see missions across MP, Warzone, and I guess DMZ, but honestly, I'm okay with the system we have now, given the experience that we have for DMZ, but I'd love to see mission challenges tasking players with some out-of-the-ordinary stuff to experience the game a bit further in ways that they may not normally in order to get calling cards, emblems, and eventually like a blueprint or camo exclusive to that mission set. I thought those were a great and unsung addition to Modern Warfare 2019, which after launch, I thought was really underutilized. Now, of course, coming back to it, the glaring one here, maps. We absolutely need more maps. I'll continue to beat that dead horse because I do think it's absurd that we have the most invested in Call of Duty game in history, and yet we're still only getting 2 6v6 maps each season, it seems. That to me is just unacceptable. That is something that I really do hope that something in the future is corrected, that we get more, but right now, based off of Season 1, based off of what we've heard for Season 2, unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be the case, which is a massive point of frustration for me. So beyond that, though, I'd love to see Specialist bonus return in some capacity. With Infected confirmed for Season 2, this is one of those things that I definitely think is weird that it's missing. Being a staple in Infinity Ward games since Modern Warfare 3, it's odd to me that we didn't see this from the get-go, and while the introduction of perk packages, a change that seemingly was made just for the sake of changing stuff, while it would have been hard to manage with that system, I think that it'd be a good introduction overall. With Infected, however, that's one of the big things that helped you as your match progressed, staying alive, giving you a fairer chance here as the number of Infected grew. So seeing it not in the game currently begs the question on if it will come or if we're genuinely just getting a bare bones Infected experience upcoming with Season 2. Now, before we move over into the next topic at hand, one that I think is a good bridge between multiplayer and Warzone, I want to take a second to remind you of my friends over at GamerAdvantage. A cheeky little plug here, and I'm sure you've heard the pitch before, but to me, they are the best blue light glasses company on the market. The YouTube lifestyle isn't as glamorous as many big-time YouTubers will make it seem. Instead of being like out partying and everything like that, like some of the trending videos will showcase, I'm just at my desk looking at my monitor for 10 plus hours a day, 7 days a week. So that stuff starts to wear on your eyes, and having done it for years on end, in the past I've tried just about every single pair of glasses you could find on Amazon, but none of those generic stuff, they can't compete. GamerAdvantage is the best on the market, clinically proven with their technology, the most comfortable, durable, and lightweight frames on the market as well. So full disclosure, they are a bit more expensive than those pair you'd find on Amazon, but they're 100% worthwhile, and the quality I think is reflected in that difference, I think. Right now for Valentine's Day, there's a site-wide 14% off discount on some frames, and with code Espresso stacking, that's an additional 10% off to give you a total of 24% off your entire order. So now is as best a time, especially of the new year, but almost as any, because these sort of deals don't come around too often. So if you'd like to learn more, check out the results and testing for yourself. Leave a link in the description below, and if you'd like to pick anything up for yourself, use code Espresso for the best savings of the year so far. But that said, jumping over to the Warzone 2 side of things here, one big thing that I'd love to see is seasonal events, that stuff that you can look at in the menu and see different challenges and rewards alongside that. Since the Haunting of Verdansk event back in October of 2020, the previous era of COD saw seasonal events on a regular basis that would bring about anywhere from half a dozen to 3 dozen challenges in limited run events for like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks at a time that we'd see across the base game and Warzone offerings. These were great ways to engage players with new content, but also reward them for their efforts. Some rewards much cooler than others, sure, but still something that allowed players to work towards a tangible goal and reward. So far, we haven't seen any of these just yet, and while we are still early on in the air quote year of support for Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2, with the major winter holidays already having gone by, that opportunity for Season 1 was definitely missed. That doesn't mean that we still can't see these in the future, but that's where the discussion comes into play that I'm hoping we see these in the future. So fingers crossed on that one. Another big one is combat records. Warzone is still without a combat record, and while it is possible we see the confirmation of that coming in the upcoming reveal blog on the 8th, right now we haven't heard anything since the delay and when it was meant to be introduced with Season 1 Reloaded. One thing additionally that was mentioned in a pre-release call with developers before Season 1 Reloaded was a combat record for DMZ as well. That was stated to be, at the time, coming with Season 2, but with the delay of the Warzone combat record, we have absolutely no idea how that affects the DMZ combat record. So fingers crossed something as basic as a combat record is introduced here at Season 2, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, as for some quality of life things that I'd love to see introduced that were a great hit, I think, within Warzone and greatly improved upon the gameplay loop was lootable perks. That's something that while we saw this within Vanguard's year of Warzone, it was something that was entirely wiped out with Warzone 2. A kind of common theme with Warzone 2 and what we saw over the past year, that what Raven did to build up the quality of life experience for Warzone, and then just Infinity Ward just disregarded all of that. Lootable perks, while we will be able to customize perk packages finally in Season 2, it would have been initially a great way to sort of offer up more versatility with chosen perks with the current system that we have for perk packages where they are locked, but it still is something that can compound and make for some great gameplay experiences if you add them in as lootable perks in the future, even after this update. Another thing here that I would love to see are contraband contracts from Warzone 1. These, if my memory serves me correctly, were only around in the first year and into Black Ops Cold War's year of the Warzone support, but it was an awesome feature that allowed you to, in-game, have a sort of mini quest of sorts where you were tasked with completing this contract, dropping off intel to a helicopter landing zone as you'd see in sort of Plunder, but once you did that, you were rewarded with a contraband weapon of a certain set number of them. These were on rotation per season, and as the seasons grew, we ended up getting new events that would allow you to see even more, some being vaulted forever, but specific rewards for specific seasons of Warzone that allowed for these rare blueprints to be found just by simply doing something extra in-game. I thought that was awesome. It wasn't something that really took away from the gameplay experience, but rewarded players that were going after those sort of things. Something cool to collect. Would love to see that return. And finally, this is one that selfishly I just love because I very much so enjoy making guides and tutorial content. It's something that I had a blast with in the Modern Warfare 2019 era of Warzone and somewhat into the Black Ops Cold War era as well, but Easter egg grinds within Warzone or even DMZ. Things like Bunker 11, the Stadium Easter egg, and the Subway Station Easter eggs were so much fun because they gave you a goal outside of just trying to be the last team standing. If you wanted to do this, you had to dedicate your early game in either Plunder, or if you were crazy enough to do them in BR, that was something you had to dedicate basically your entire time to do, and it was something that lasted most of those matches overall, but rewarded with some cool things that were like blueprints credited to your account, in-game rewards like a massive amount of cash, specialist bonuses, different rewards like Foresight and Advanced UAV when those things were brand new to Warzone. So I would love to see that happen, and especially with DMZ being something that is this sort of open world experience, you wouldn't even have to introduce those, though they could be done in Warzone in the Battle Royale aspect, that would take away from any gameplay loop. With DMZ, again, being a sort of play how you want nature, it'd be a great way to do it where you could take up 20 to 25 minutes of that 25 to 30 minute match that a DMZ round would take, and you'd have to go and try and consciously work towards something like that. But at the end, it will grant you a reward worth that playtime. So I think that would be awesome to see those sort of quests introduced, but for right now, we just don't have anything pointing towards that. So fingers crossed, those in particular aren't really ever telegraphed and sort of given any clues as to them coming, so maybe there's still hope, but for me, that's what we're gonna call it. That's 10 things that I think are great improvements, and right now, missed opportunities that we haven't seen introduced with Modern Warfare 2, so let me know your thoughts down below. What would you guys like to see here added from either what we saw within Modern Warfare 2019, Black Ops Cold War and Vanguard's years of air quote innovation, or is there anything in particular that we didn't touch on that none of those games touched on either? Let me know down below that you'd like to see in Warzone 2, in DMZ, in Modern Warfare 2. Love to hear your thoughts, but if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it, and if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and DMZ as we gear up for Season 2. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and peace.